Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Daily Grind. This is a podcast by Cutting Tool Engineering Magazine. And today is episode 7 called Your Future Shop Just Called and It's Profitable. Today's guest, he's a few minutes behind schedule, is Mr. David Winslow of Elite Manufacturing Advisory. Mr. Winslow specializes in turning struggling shops around by offering advisory services that will take your systems, processes, and profits and turn them around for you or help you do so. The systems are the competitive advantage that your shop will have over anybody else. Processes that he works on are how a shop works, helping you improve your processes and, by necessity, improving your bottom line or your profits. Today, we're also going to talk about a recent article that Mr. Winslow put out called "The Skills Gap is a Lie." And this one really made me think. This one hit home. After having spent years of being told there's a skills gap, and how there's nobody to fill the place of the old guard that is retiring or leaving. That's all I ever believed. That's all I ever knew. But Dave has a fantastic viewpoint on, it's not opposing. It's not necessarily a complete departure from the skills gap. It does touch on that there is kind of a gap, but the ways in which we can fix it and what you've been hearing or been told, or I've been told at least, about the skills gap being a thing that could be fixed rather easily. I say that because I'm just a mouthpiece on a microphone. I can just tell you fix it, but it's you that has to take the steps. We are going to touch on Industry 4.0 and the industrial Internet of Things. This is the interconnectivity of your machinery, the machine monitoring, and cobots and robots to help automate your shop and get you competitive again, should it be something that works for you. It's not for every shop. There are some instances where automation would not help you, maybe hurt you. We can talk about that today. There are a few other articles that Mr. Winslow has published, and we're going to let him dive into them when he joins us and explain his reasoning for his writing. But the titles of those articles are as follows. One of them is called "Stop Quoting Trash." Another one is "Boring is Beautiful." One of them, I think I'm misquoting the title, but the idea of it is the job shop is essentially dead. You need to be specialized. And MOQ, or minimum order quantity, is your shield, where he will talk about using price as a shield to save your shop from putting things on a machine just to keep the spindles turning, where you'd be, as he put it, and this is all him, he put it as paying your customer to have work on your spindles. For every part that you charge him money for, you're really just paying him a little bit, him or her. And he has a phenomenal analogy about comparing customers of a machine shop to car buying customers looking for he uses Ferrari as an analogy. It's great. So we will wait for him to join us and he can explain all of this. There are other things that he's written and he has published that I really want to go over today. The big one that I think is going to hit home with a lot of people today is the landlord versus shop owner, and how having a shop and having the spindles dead is sometimes seen as lost money. There's the old adage that money's only being made when chips are flying. And that could be, depending on your situation, for sure. But if you focus on, and again, this is all him. I'm reading from his work. This is none of this is my brainchild. But if you just put stuff on a machine to get the spindle turning, and you focus as on your machines being the tenant that pays the rent instead of uh, focusing on your shop, as he will explain, you can get yourself in a lot of trouble quick. So these are some of the topics I'm going to have him really dig into today. You might hear my daughter; she's teething, and so nothing makes her happy right now. So again, to recap, we're gonna start with Industry 4.0 and where it could really help or hurt your operation, and you have to be the one that determines if it's right for you. A point that he makes, and again, he will cover this. I will not take anything from him. A point he makes is you shouldn't automate a mess. It's kind of like the idea of putting lipstick on a pig. It's still pig. If you automate a mess, it's still a mess. You're just taking your hands out of it, and that could lead to catastrophic problems. So again, to go through some of the list, stop quoting trash. Like I said, to recap, is if you just bring in jobs to turn the spindles on and get your guys working, you could end up, in a way, just paying your customer to give you work. Boring is beautiful. I don't think I went through this one yet. This one is, it had me thinking a little bit, again, from my perspective. Reading his work, I immediately start from my perspective, but I also take into account industry, shops that make money for a living, and compare the two. So, Boring is Beautiful is a treatise on, if your shop is exciting, there's a problem. Whereas if your shop is running, it's humming along, and it almost seems boring, well, that's where the money's to be made. You have your processes down. You have everything going great. Compared to my original thought of it, when I saw the little thumbnail for the picture for the article on LinkedIn, I immediately tensed up and said, "Oh no!" But when I finally sat down and read his work, it made complete sense that if you have fires to put out everywhere, it's a problem. If you are running along, and what's the analogy? No news is good news. So if there's no news, that's good. I'd like to take a minute to step back and go over, to do the introductions again. If you guys will notice, I am not at my machine shop at Acopian Engineering Center in Lafayette College of Easton, PA. We were down at my in-laws for, my wife lost her grandmother over the weekend, so we are down for the service. And since I'm down here, I thought I would broadcast live. So today, our coffee, being the daily grind, this is the double entente to machining and coffee. Today's is, if you guys read the description I put up, is another trip to the Cafe Basteo camp. And we are with Cafe Con Vanilla, which is a departure from me, but this is really, really good. I don't even think it's actually like typical coffee like you would, the beans and all that. I think it's an espresso or I really don't know what it is, but it's delicious. It's a great way to enjoy something while I'm talking to you today. As for Lafayette College, if you guys notice, I have my motorsports shirt on today. Lafayette boasts an unmatched engineering curriculum. And if you are somebody that has a college-age student or nobody that has a high school student that's looking to go to college, I would sincerely advise you to join the ranks of Lafayette. Apply here and say Colonel, or why not, just like we do. Now, as to our guest, I believe he is trying to patch in now. That's it. Okay, so we're having a little bit of technical difficulty having him come in. It seems to be a recurring thing with our show, and slight technical difficulties. Another thing that Mr. Winslow has his hand in, he has his hand in a lot of pies. If you are familiar with 5S or the Kaizen moment, I do not remember the 5 S's. It's been 16 years since I've been in a shop that focused on 5S. The government munitions plant that I used to work for before I joined the ranks at Lafayette was focused very much on 5S. How can they, be more efficient? How could they improve their processes? And to to many like-minded folks like myself, anything the government gets their hands in on, efficiency is not one of them. But being that it was a private company that subcontracted for them, so I guess you could call it that. It wasn't completely government. We did just do military work, but they came in and changed the entire process. They put the tape down on the ground, how they could improve workflow, how they could make things more efficient, parts transport more efficient, and there was a I think it was a month-long thing at the time. We had lectures on what 5S was, what Kaizen was, and how to go about implementing the procedures. It was a complete disruption of the work that we were doing, but again, on the government teat, so money was printed like water. Nobody lost a minute of sleep over it. Now, Mr. Winslow, again, we'll discuss. He has his hand in on 5S and what it can do for your shop if it's right for you. I do apologize for this technical difficulty. I was in the impression that we would be ready to fly right away. So today's episode is going to be also a little bit of a lead-in to next week's episode, where we have the wonderful Mr. Perry Iverson, who is a good close friend of Cutting Tool Engineering magazine and the crew over at the magazine themselves. We are going to, again, discuss the skills gap. I think we're going to spend a good chunk of time on that and the comparison of it. And we're going to lead into next week's episode with this, in that what can be done, what are multiple things that could be done, all different aspects of things that could be done to fix this problem. And without stealing too much of his thunder, he'll probably repeat all of this when he does sign in a minute. The skills gap, as I don't want to say brainwashed, but as I was told all these years, was the simple cut and dried thing of, and whether or not it's about the post-consumerism and that we're not going to get into that, I don't think. But the manufacturing and machining trades boomed after the Second War. All the vets coming home and needing work, and we were on a manufacturing explosion at the time, and so a lot of people joined the trades, and I speak of the trades very highly, as you guys know, whether it be machining, whether it be carpentry, all of them, everything. They're all necessary, and they're all fantastic trades. Plus, and I don't know if we'll get into the trade school versus college thing, and I don't know if that's necessarily one we'll cover. It's very, very, very polarizing and divisive, so I doubt we'll hop into that on the show. But the point I'm trying to make is the old guard, or the people that did it, whether it be out of necessity, whether it be out of desire, when they were young, took up a trade, and they're all retiring, they're all passing on, or to going to greener pastures, and nobody's there to refill the positions. And I lament that. I'm fearful that if it continues to happen, we will be at a loss. Let's be real. But I was under the impression that there's really only one way to fix it, and it's to not force, but really, really, really strongly suggest people go into the trades, whether it be trade school, whether it be apprenticeship, what have you. Now, the way that it's been proposed to me by Mr. Winslow was it's a training issue. So, and I also believe this wholeheartedly, is trades can be taught. And let me give you an example. I had a coworker come in to chat with me the other day at the machine shop and looked in amazement at the machinery. Stuff I've looked at for 20 years. I know exactly what it is, what it does. I have my respect for the machinery. I know what it can do for me. It's just tools of the trade for me. This gentleman walked in and his eyes about come out of his skull. And he said things along the lines of, I wish I could do this. I wish I knew what I was doing. I wish I was this smart. And that drives me up a wall. Not necessarily because he said it, but what he said. When I first started doing this, I was some pimple-faced, child. I was 14. I was a broom operator at first. I brushed chips up off the floor. I scooped them up, put them in the skip, and I paid my dues by starting at the bottom. But when I was put on the machines, finally, I was taught. And I had an excellent set of mentors. I had many great mentors. But that's the thing, is I had mentors. People that took the time to train me to do these things. And I'm very thankful for it. What I think the disconnect lies in people wanting to be able to hire somebody to just fill the position and get back to work and get those spindles humming. But they're also the people that complain that we don't have the people to do it. So it's wish in one hand and in the other, and see which one fills up first. They talk a big game, but they won't put their money where their mouth is. And yes, money makes the world go round. Let's be real. But let me take a drink. Gosh, that's good. They won't put their money where their mouth is, in that they won't take the time, resources, money, everything to mold that person the way they want them to be. And now there's another tangent we can go on about that in a minute. But if you will not take the time to take somebody, attitude is what I'm looking for. If you have somebody with the attitude to learn, attitude to come in and be a contributor, you can shape that mind. You can tell them what you want of them. If you clearly explain your expectations, you'll get that out of them. But these people, these shop owners, expect one thing, and the reality is something completely different 99% of the time. You have that unicorn that just comes in and it's a win. I get that they exist, but they're rare. My point of it is I explained to this gentleman. So what slayed me even worse was he's a skilled plumber of 20 years. And plumbing can be learned. Machining can be learned. It's very stressful at times, holding tolerances. You have timelines, you have deadlines. Sure, I get it. I do. But if you are willing to take the time and train somebody to your ways, your shop's ways, it will pay off in dividends. It will pay off tenfold later. I strongly feel that way. I explained it to this guy, Jake was his name. I explained it to him that give me a couple of days, I'll teach you the basics. Give me a couple months, I'll get you going. And give me a couple of years, I'll make you as good as me. And the look on his face of befuddlement because of my confidence in that thought kind of scared me, but it also meant to me that there is still a respect for the trades, and this one specifically. But I say all this to reinforce the thoughts again that Mr. Winslow will make in a few minutes, that if you spend the time and money to develop the workforce will pay you back in tenfold. So you can't expect somebody to come in, do everything you want them to do, and be, I'd say, disappointed when it doesn't work out exactly as you thought. So please be mindful that if you are willing to mentor and develop the employee, so that the skills gap may exist, but there's a fix. Folks, I do apologize about this. I had everything lined up to start today's show. I hope everything's okay with Mr. Winslow. Other things we'll talk about today when he does join us is, well, as with all my guests, I give them the floor for a little bit to explain who they are, who they work for, and get their name out there. A big part of this show has been helping to get out names that may not be in front of everybody. I'd like to open that up for them. So I discussed the landlord versus shop owner briefly. We also have tips for hiring, technology, and the pitfalls of it all. We also have on deck the hiring crisis, which goes back to the skills gap lie, but we'll discuss that more in depth. I mentioned the pricing strategy and the analogy that he'll bring up, and how charging your full rate will save you versus undercutting your competitor just to get to work. And the two types of buyers or two types of customers that are always prevalent, and how to sift through the two, cut the wheat from the chaff. And we have a couple other topics to discuss today, but let's see if Mr. Winslow is about ready to join us. Please bear with us. So I will explain. Mr. Winslow is on the West Coast as I'm on the East Coast. He's 3 hours behind us, and us going live at 8 o'clock means 5 o'clock for him. So if he's just having a little bit of a hiccup, I will not hold that against him. I realize waking up early is to be on a show is a big ask. So we are very thankful for Mr. Winslow bending his schedule to make an appearance today. So for those of you watching and listening, if you have any questions you'd like to ask Mr. Winslow, we are joined. Let's see. Let's get the microphones going here. Dave, can you hear me?
Rob, I'm so sorry. My alarm didn't go off.
Oh, things happen. I took a minute and gave the audience a preliminary heads up of what we're going to discuss today, with the caveat that you would dive deeper into everything.
Okay.
So I went top to bottom through the list of notes that you sent me the other day, and I have just the Cliff Notes version in front of me here. Starting at the top, let's go to Industry 4.0. So everybody, this is Mr. David Winslow of Elite Manufacturing Advisory. Dave, if you could please take a minute, introduce yourself again, and give a
Good morning.
short backstory on who you are and how you got here.
Backstory. My name is Dave Winslow. I started on the shop floor at 14 years old, not in the boardroom. I know what it smells like when the coolant goes bad. I know the sound of a tool breaking. Over the years, I realized many shops know how to cut chips, but they don't know how to build systems. That led me to found Elite Manufacturing Advisory. We are a boutique consulting firm specifically from small and mid-sized manufacturers. We are focused on operations and supply chain management. We don't just give advice and leave. We focus on three things: systems, processes, and profits. We help shop owners stop fighting fires so they can actually run their business.
Thank you, Dave. So I touched on those 3 points: the systems, which, as you had said to me the other day, is your competitive advantage over your competitive or competing shops. Your processes, how a shop works and how you can make a shop work, and your profits, your bottom line. Did I miss anything?
No.
Excellent. Now, if we go here, when I mentioned Industry 4.0, I'd like to touch on it today without essentially getting too deep into boring people with repetitive points of it can make your shop profitable. It can make you competitive. Everybody says that as a sales point, but you and I had discussed when you called me the other day about how you used it to help your shop, and you said it worked for you. Is there a place? So please repeat or rehash for the audience what you did, who you used. I think you said you used a local company. And
yeah, in my shop, I had a local robot company called Trinity Robotics build me a system for material handling on my 5-axis machine.
Okay. Is it relevant for the small shop, or is it just hype?
No, it's relevant for the small shop.
Okay.
The system was $185,000, so it wasn't that expensive.
And that can sound like a big number to, I don't understand. I don't know exactly what you consider a small shop to be. I'm talking one, two guy operations, um, maybe half dozen
Between 100,000 and $2 million
of transactions profit.
of revenue.
Very good. Okay, so I have a very very different idea what a small shop is. Um, Excellent. So the misconception: most owners hear 4.0 and think it means spending $2 million, but as you just explained, you spent 185K to get a cobot running.
To get a palletized robot running.
Okay. And here
And
you,
I ran it lights out.
I'm sorry. Oh, you said you run lights out, and that was one of the things I asked you about the other day when we spoke. Is do you run lights out? And you confidently said yes, which I'm still kind of um, naive to, I guess you'd say, because I don't do it.
Yeah, the robot had pallets and it would load pallets into the machine. The pallets would be loaded with the material.
Okay. And you said it was a boost for your shop. It helped you. It helped you increase profit. Was it more competitive? What did it get for you at Dave Winslow's shop?
It helped me run my machine more competitively so I could lower my pricing.
Okay, and get the same revenue.
The same
Excellent.
bang for the buck.
So you've told me that 4.0 isn't about the robots per se. It isn't about the physical robots. It's about the data that will help
It's
you.
about the data and the systems.
Okay. So here you have mentioned to me that you want to appeal to tradition, the portfolio argument. If you could go into that,
Stand by.
sure.
Yeah, I guess my point is when it comes to your portfolio in your shop, saying yes to everything is a dead end strategy.
Right. Being a yes man's not a great idea.
It doesn't work in the long term. You've got to specialize.
And I touched on that briefly before you joined us. Is you had also put out a few articles that I've been thumbing through that I can't put down. Is the job shop is essentially dead, and you need to be specialized. And I think we'll go over that in a few minutes. What I wanted to
Okay.
keep going through is you have here the golden rule: don't automate a mess. Is that kind of like and I explained it, I hope correctly, as the don't put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig.
Yeah, it's still a yucky pig that eats trash.
Excellent. So another point you made that I hope you can reinforce a little bit is you don't need to be, or you don't need a robot to be Industry 4.0. You need to stop running
No,
your shop with
you
tribal
need an
knowledge.
ERP system.
Okay.
And in my
So
shop, we used one called Fulcrum, which was easy. It was pretty good. It was just expensive.
now, ease of use and expense aside, well, let's focus more on the ease of use. If you have somebody that is, I don't know, averse or hesitant to join the automation uh, bandwagon, are the interfaces being easy to use a way to help jump that little gap?
It's absolutely helpful.
Okay. Now we did introduce ourselves. I introduced you. You explained who you are. And can you go into a little bit more of what you at Elite Manufacturing Advisory offer to your clients?
I offer operations consulting. Basically, I've been doing this for 25 years, and so small shops can copy off my homework.
Excellent. So you have having all these experiences in the past, you documenting them and offering them to your clients. Do you find that it's helpful? Do you find that you get a lot of good feedback?
I do.
Excellent.
People find my advice helpful, which is good because it's not cheap, it's expensive.
I mean, when you're paying for it like that, you want it to work. Oh, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. It does work. I've spent 10 years on shop floors leading teams. So I have a lot of experience in making the thing go.
Now, Dave, one of the things that really, really drew me to reaching out to you and having you on the show today was your article on the landlord being the problem and the shop owner being the solution. And that's one of the things I want to focus on today and help the audience see exactly what the difference is and what the pitfalls of just turning the spindle on to keep them going versus being a shop owner. And there's
Yeah, the trap is being a chaos founder,
okay.
hustling every month, being reactive, and building a business that depends entirely on themselves. You don't want to be in that boat.
And I had made a couple of points of linking that article to your other ones and if I hack the names up, please again correct me. We had one that was stop quoting trash. There is boring is beautiful. We mentioned the job shop is dead. Be specialized, and then a big one is MOQ is your shield. Was this the one that you and I talked about, where price is your shield, and you use that Ferrari analogy?
No, price is not the problem, is feed the beast fallacy.
Okay.
Address the fear of the empty spindle.
So
owners tend to think that some revenue is better than no revenue, so they fill the shop with trash work.
Okay. And you had mentioned to me that was this the where you had said you're essentially paying your customer to give you work?
If you're not charging what your rate actually is for the work, then you're failing yourself. You've got to charge at least your costs and a comfortable margin in order to survive.
Okay. And having the confidence and advocacy to do that, I'm sure would
that's
push
what a lot of my articles are about.
Okay. And I suggest anybody listening and watching, if you could find Dave Winslow on LinkedIn, he has fantastic articles that he posts all the time. Speaking of, Dave, what is, if I may, without giving too much away, what is your writing stance? Do you strictly just put things on the internet to grab people's attention? Do you have an editor? Is there, aside from the website, is there another place that people can go to find you?
LinkedIn is where my articles live.
Okay.
You click my profile and you click articles on the bottom of my profile. It'll show my articles. You have to click the articles button to search for my content.
So, those of you that have LinkedIn or can get access to it, that is a great place to find Mr. Winslow's work. Another big point that I reiterate a lot when I speak, and I have the time to talk about it, is, and this is that lead-in I mentioned to the listeners about next week's show, is the skills gap. So I had spent a few minutes before you joined us, Dave, going over I don't want to call it a misconception, but the way I was taught and the way I was told about the skills gap. The old guard is retiring and nobody's filling the spots. But you had an excellent article on the skills gap is a lie. And I reference it a lot. I speak about it to people all the time and the points you had made to me were it's more of a training issue. Internal training at a company needs to be a thing. Mentorship programs and leadership development, advancement needs to exist. Can you please touch on that a little bit more?
Absolutely. Companies need to perform internal training in order to build talent. You've got to build it now. It doesn't just walk through the door. You can't hunt for unicorns all the time and expect your spindles to keep running.
I had made a very similar point. You had mentioned the Marine Corps mindset of being able to train somebody to do what you do.
Hire for attitude, build for skills.
So this parrots a lot of what I had said, and I had told the audience that you would. This is all your work. I take no credit for any of this. This is stuff that you told me and you've taught me over the last couple of weeks that we've been talking. Of specifically the Marine Corps mindset, the skills gap being a lie, is that you can train for anything as long as you have the attitude to learn and listen.
Yeah, hire the kid who rebuilt his transmission in his driveway. You can teach G code. You can't teach giving a damn.
Right. And that's a problem that a lot of shop owners or landlords, if you want to put it that way, run into. They hire somebody that on paper, they have 25 years of experience, but they don't give a damn. They're just there to make money or do things their way.
Everybody's there to make money.
Right.
You gotta weed those guys out.
So I have one or two more things I'd like to go over today before we wrap up the show. Am I right in thinking that you do dip your hand into the pie of 5S and Kaizen?
Yeah, I'll do lean transformation projects at small companies that want to get involved with lean.
Okay. Have you found success?
I haven't found any clients for that particular service yet.
Okay. So is that something coming in the future or that you offer and haven't?
It will eventually when I find somebody who's an interested party.
Excellent. And I have here, let's pivot to pricing and systems. If you could please touch a little bit more on that.
Yeah, a lot of owners self-sabotage when it comes to quoting. They lower their rate in order to win the work, but that's just a race to the bottom.
So you had made the point of telling, what is the Ferrari analogy that you told me the other day?
If I walk into the Ferrari dealership and scream the Honda Civic is cheaper, the salesman doesn't lower his price. He opens the door and asks me to leave. He knows I'm not a Ferrari buyer.
So we can link that to pricing your work for what it's worth and letting the other guy go broke trying to please you?
Yeah, leave that to the other shops, to the smaller shops. Charge your true rate.
You had said that you work predominantly for small and medium-sized manufacturers. What do you consider a big manufacturer, and why haven't you?
$100 million
is big.
Yeah, they typically have enough systems in place that my services are not required.
Okay, so they have their version of you already on board.
Yeah, in the form of employees normally.
Okay. Well, Mr. Winslow, I believe that wraps up everything I wanted to talk about today. Is there anything else that you would like to plug for your company? Anything else you'd like to bring up or discuss today? Now's the time. You have the stage.
Okay, thank you very much, Rob. Elite Manufacturing Advisory is here to help you fight the chaos. If your shop doesn't run on its own, call me and I will help you.
To the ladies and gentlemen watching and listening, Mr. Winslow has been a wealth of information. He's been willingly sharing things, and has been an absolute pleasure to work with over the last couple of weeks. I'm hoping that we can continue to work together with Cutting Tool Engineering and Mr. Winslow to get his name out and to help struggling shops turn it around. So with that,
I'm here to help you as well, Rob.
Mr. Winslow, thank you very much. If we have any problems at Lafayette Engineering, I'm sure I'll be giving you a call.
Absolutely.
Mind you, as I've explained to my listeners and viewers a lot in the past, we are strictly a prototyping shop that takes student and professor ideas and attempt our best to bring them to life. So while we don't make money on the parts going out the door, we do have processes in place to create successful engineers, and Lafayette has the best. With that, great. We are going to round out today's show. Again, Dave, thank you for your time. Thank you for bending your schedule. So I realize that you're a few hours behind on the West Coast. So we really, really appreciate you bending your schedule to come join us today. And
I appreciate the opportunity, Rob.
Okay. A link to your website and your contact information has been put in the description for the video. So we're hoping to get you a little bit more traffic that way.
Dave, thank you very much.
We'll see you around, partner.
All right. Take it easy.
Bye-bye. To our listeners and viewers for Cutting Tool Engineering, this has been the Daily Grind, episode 7. Your future shop just called, and it's profitable. So may your only daily grind be the brew in your mug. Be sure to tune in next week, same time, same place. We'll be back at Acopian Engineering Center for our final episode of the January Talk series, Shop Talk. And we have the vaunted Mr. Terry Iverson on to discuss his glowing success with Champion Now and another way, augmenting Mr. Winslow's ways of how to shrink that skills gap and get people back into manufacturing. So I advise you next week, same time, same place, 8 a.m. Eastern, tune in to the Daily Grind. Bye-bye, everybody.